Ziednis. Mēs esam pulcējušies uz pēdējo diskusiju, kas ir skats no malas Latvija ārvalstu investoru skatījumā. Un sarunu vadīs Lawin, advokātu biroja Lawin un Amerikas Tirdzniecības palātas Latvijā prezidents Ivars Slokenbergs.
Paldies and welcome. As Mati said, the name of our presentation panel, View from the Side, Latvia in the View of Foreign Investors. With your permission, we will do this entirely in English because most of our panel are non-Latvian speakers. So your programs, of course, say how do we make Latvia more competitive, how do we make Latvia more attractive for foreign investments. Much has been already discussed in the various panels today. We will try not to repeat too much. And it's the last panel of the day. We all want to get to the President's reception. We have only 30 minutes, so let's get started. We have a fantastic panel, highly experienced people from Chicago. And you'll ask, how did we get these people here? Well, the Prime Minister last night and the Foreign Minister this morning mentioned the high value of the network of Latvia's network of honorary consuls. And Latvia's honorary consul in Chicago, in the state of Illinois, Robert Blombergs, who has done a lot to promote contact between Latvia and the U.S. These fine people are part of his network, and he asked them to come here. So I thank you for being here. So let's get started with introductions. Alexis Keynes, immediately to the left, or to your right. He is the founder and CEO of Alphametrics. He established the world's first secure online market platform for private investments, in particular for complex vehicles such as hedge funds. He'll tell you a little bit more about that in a few minutes. In 2010, the company was named the 109th fastest growing company in the US. And in 2011, Crain's Chicago Business, an influential magazine in the city, named the company the fastest growing company in Chicago in that previous 5-year period. And I understand that presently the company is servicing more than $8 billion in assets. Next, James Staples. He's the managing director and principal with Starshak Winsenberg. He's engaged in capital raising and advising growth-oriented privately owned food industry companies in mergers and acquisitions. Over his career, he has advised on corporate capital transactions aggregating in billions and billions of dollars. He started on Wall Street with Swiss Bank, later UBS, later corporate head of Sumitomo Trust in Chicago, also was at BMO Harris, Bank of Montreal for many years. To my left, Lisa Flynn. She's the Senior Vice President for Product Development at the Pampered Chef. It's the largest global company engaged in direct sales of cooking, gourmet, kitchen, and entertainment products. She began her career in fashion industry at such companies as Goldwater's, Charles A. Stevens, J.W. Robinson's. Later had leadership positions at Express, a well-known brand in the United States, and most recently at Brooks Brothers, a storied fashion line, managing the women's wear division. So with those introductions, I would like to pose my first question to Alex. Alex, you, a Latin American in Chicago, built your business in a relatively short time period. Now, a watershed moment for all of us was the global financial crisis in the latter part of 2008. And I understand it was also a watershed moment for Alex and his business, because suddenly he had a product that the panicked investment world wanted, and that was transparency. Transparency in complex financial investment vehicles. So Alex, can you tell us briefly, what is it you do and how you achieve the success? And what is transparency? We talk a lot about transparency here in Latvia, caurspīdība, but what does that mean to your clients that are investors? What can we learn about that to make Latvia an attractive investment destination?
Thank you, Ivars, and I want to start off by thanking everybody. I'm honored to be here today to speak in front of you, and I'd like to thank the organizers, Pirmais, and also hospitality we've gotten from the Latvian government, and last but not least, Bloomberg for letting us be here. So what I do is a little complicated to explain, but the premise was simple. I built a company with the idea of creating transparency for investors, because when investors feel confident that their money is not going to disappear when they know where it is, they're much more confident to make investments. And I started my career working at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange in the research department, working in futures markets, and so I got to understand how a marketplace works. There are basic concepts behind a marketplace: price discovery, price dissemination, but quality of goods and trust amongst in the whole area. In 2005, I decided to start Ekonomikas because I had been in the banking industry in fund of funds and was making allocations, and things like Madoff, if you've heard of that, existed because there was no transparency. The large banks, the large pension funds, and if you think of pension funds as the life savings of firemen, teachers, policemen, and so forth, were putting at risk without much knowledge or information about where those assets were going. And I kept thinking someone would build a tool, build technology to service that area. That if you had a stock account, you could see online the website, your stock's moving, and for a few $1,000s in that account. The large institutions had no such tool. So in 2005, I started Ekonomikas. It was just me. Now we have 130 employees. We service and advise just over 8.3 billion in assets with sovereign wealth. We work with governments, pension funds, endowments, and the basic idea of what we do is that we build technology. And you must ask, what does transparency mean? It's a word that's used a lot, but hardly ever explained and rarely ever executed. To us, what we do is the problem we see in the financial system is data exists in silos, and no one has technology to connect it. And those silos are often banks and sometimes exchanges. So in the U.S., Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, they're competitors. They don't share information. And many of the investments we work with trade across all of these. And bottom line, no one had built technology to bring this together. So we first built it for the private sector. And lo and behold, before 2008, we would explain why you needed transparency when investing. And after 2008, no one ever asked me the question again, why? Then they asked, how do we get it? And so that's what I've been spending all my time doing. 4 weeks ago, I testified on Capitol Hill in front of the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, which is part of the Department of Agriculture in the United States. They told me it'd be a small meeting. I walked in, there were 150 people, 3 C-SPAN cameras, and 5 commissioners and about 50 regulators there, that they wanted to know how can they get transparency. And we've been hired by now 3 regulators in the United States, and we're talking to European governments about how to get this data together and process it. So the key is the investor knows all the time where their money is. And what transparency means to us is that if you look at reconciling information between multiple unrelated parties. So very simply, Bank A, Bank B, Bank C. We connect it with technology so that if A is lying, B and C will most likely be telling the truth, and we can connect between it. So you're always checking a story. So imagine if you saw an event in the hallway and you asked 3 people what happened. You wouldn't keep them together. You'd separate them out and ask them what's happening. We do that with technology. And what we started in just futures and hedge funds, and now that's expanding to all types of investments. The way we actually make money doing this is we bring together transparent investments and investors. So we service almost 4,000 investors, the world's largest investors. We actually hold a few conferences. We held a conference in January. Notice Bloomberg was there in Miami. We had 1,600 people, some of the largest investors in the world from the Middle East, Europe, Asia, and so forth. We had Tony Blair as our keynote speaker. But the whole idea there was to get together investors and investments. And I was asked by some French investors and Swiss investors if I could help introduce them to investment opportunities in the former CIS. And they asked me, well, what about a conference in St. Petersburg? And I said, well, what about a conference in Riga? And so I'm still trying to work that out, and maybe with Rob, and maybe with some of the help of some of the people I've met here this week, we can pull that off. But I see a couple of things, and the reason why they asked me for this is because it's seen as a potential gateway from east to west. I mean, sure, they'd be interested in talking to the pension funds here in Latvia, but really more so is this gateway, the concept of being sort of the Hong Kong, if you will, of Europe, that we have a gateway. I'm running out of time here, but the other thing that's very interesting, we build software, and the level of education here in Latvia, finding programmers and so forth, and I've talked to some companies while I've been here, is very, very interesting. So direct investment, the gateway, and programs.
Thank you, Alex. Question for James. This morning, Live at Ubisa, one of the speakers in the first panel, mentioned that she had met an investment bank from Chicago last night at the dinner who had asked her, where should I invest in Latvia? I understand you are that Chicago. Two-part question. First, briefly tell us a little bit more about what you do to understand the scale of the deals that you work on. Then a broader question, which may be a little unfair. Have you heard anything in the last 20 hours that would answer this question, where to invest in Latvia? And then the more pointed question, focusing on your experience in the food and beverage sector, that is, which makes up also a good part of Latvia's exports, what we can do to make Latvia's food and beverage sector more competitive, and promote exports and so forth. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I'm very honored to be here and share a little bit about myself, our firm, and more importantly, how we can potentially work together. I have been in the food and beverage industry for a good part of my career, and it's had different evolutions, but in the past 10 years or so, I've spent more time working with what I would call younger companies, growth companies, companies that are sort of the cutting edge, the tech element of the food industry. There's been a lot of movement in the United States, as there has been in Europe as well, around food that's better for you, better formulations. In Europe in particular, non-GMO is a big issue. But in the U.S., there's been a huge movement towards better for you products, and it's kind of everything along the food chain we're talking about. But with the issues that are facing human beings around nutrition or poor nutrition, lack of nutrition, childhood obesity in general, people want to live longer, they want to have more healthful lives. So this movement really got its start probably 25 years ago, but really got a lot of traction about the past 10 years. And organic and natural food, I guess in this country we refer to it as ecologically type food. And it's even gone a step further with the beer industry. Craft beers are part of that movement as well. And I understand that you all have very wonderful beer here in your country, so I've had some already. But I work with private investors, generally family offices that have great wealth, and they're looking for alternative investments in the food and beverage industry. And it's a global view, not just U.S. And a lot of the interest is in organic and natural. It could be a product that's been around for hundreds of years, but it's been reinvented with better ingredients, better formulation, and better branding. And so, yes, it's true, the big mega companies like Kraft and General Mills, etc., have gone into this field and have built product lines around it. But there's a lot of younger companies that have gained a lot of traction and have started from virtually nothing in our significant businesses today within 3 to 5 years. So it's really exciting business. It's a very interesting business around also sourcing of the ingredients that go into these products. Where did they come from? I was thinking about Latvia in particular, and with its significant agricultural sector, number one, but also the country has the ability to grow grains here, which is a significant component in a lot of these better-for-you products. And I refer to them as ancient grains. They're ancient grains because they've been around since ancient times, but have only sort of come back into vogue in food formulations in the past maybe 10, 15 years. And it's hard to source these products, these commodities. It's not easy because there just isn't wide-scale farming for these kind of grains. Typically, the sellers of these grains do very well from a margin standpoint, better than traditional commodity grains. So I don't know if that's particularly an area that might be of interest to Latvia, but I certainly would recommend that not only the grains, but also I understand there's some berries that grow here that could be very interesting in different formulations with different food products that are better for you.
Thank you. Hey, question for Lisa. Today we've talked a lot about macro competitiveness of countries and societies, but have not heard too much about the role of individuals, small businesses, in ensuring economic stability and growth in places like Latvia. And in particular, last night at dinner we talked about the role of women, that women should be empowered to participate in small business, and in particular in Latvia. And it's my firm opinion that women are the backbone of Latvian society. So a two-part question for you. Again, tell us briefly about Pampered Chef and how you helped to grow the business into what it is today. And then focus on this point I've just made. How do you see that businesses such as Pampered Chef can empower individuals, families, women to succeed and contribute to stability of an economy such as Latvia?
Thank you. Thank you all for letting me speak today. Rob, thank you for inviting me. Good to sit on the panel with you two gentlemen. Just quickly, some background on the Pampered Chef. It was founded in 1980 by a woman in the basement of her home in River Forest. And she saw a need. She had 2 young children, and she saw a need that she wanted to really help participate in the growing of their family, as well as being more stay-at-home mom but still contribute to the family. So she founded this direct selling business, and fast forward, in 2002, Warren Buffett acquired the company, and lo and behold, he's married to a Latvian. So we are the largest direct seller of kitchen tools. Our annual revenue is $650 million. We're in 5 countries. We're in the UK, Canada, obviously the United States, Mexico, and Germany. And we do see a huge opportunity emerging in Eastern Europe. We have a network of 60,000 independent consultants or independent contractors. And the way that we market and sell our products is through a hands-on, in-home cooking demonstration. So say I'm a consultant, I come into your home, you invite people, I demonstrate a recipe using our products, and then you can buy our products through the consultant. We have over 500 SKUs. We have developed a consumable line, as well as we have recipe publications. So we develop our own recipes to showcase our products, and they go hand in hand. One of our big mantras is to get dinner on the table in under 30 minutes or less and this is in U.S. currency, at $2 a serving, because the life that we all live is very busy, but we believe that families prosper when they can sit down at a dinner table, converse, share in the day's activities. It's a proven fact that reduces obesity, there is more success rate in just the development of children, and higher education. So the nugget that I have, having been here my first time and just here like barely 2 days, probably the thing that I think could be interesting is that no matter what economy we're in around the world, there's always an opportunity for flexibility in an additional income stream, as well as flexibility in work opportunities. For example, at home in the States, unemployment has dropped, increased, it's unsteady. The workforce, even as it relates to men, is challenging from time to time. So a direct selling business can give anyone an opportunity to increase their income opportunity as little as they want, be it $250, $500, just for some spending money, all the way up to serious six and seven figure income.
Thank you very much. I apologize, we have this tremendous wealth of knowledge on this panel, and I've given them 7 minutes each because we are trying to close the program. We may have some time for some questions. I understand there's a video that we want to show you from the Latvian Investment and Development Agency that was just released a couple of months ago. Is that ready to show?
Using Latvian ports to ship our products to Scandinavia, trading with Russia, and things you do. Wow. Will you mind telling me a little bit more about that? Strikes me about Latvia is not only the largest trade hub of the Baltics, but it's basically a geographical hotspot.
Yeah, what do you mean by that?
Well, look, you've got Scandinavia on one side, Russia on another, Poland, Germany on another, and Latvia right in the middle of the action. So whenever I'm aiming overseas, I've got 3 international ice-free ports to choose from, and if I need Russia, I've got a direct rail link that goes straight from Latvia to Moscow. But the best thing is, it's just a 2-hour flight away from all the Western capitals. Not bad. Not bad at all.
So what'd you do? Move your whole company there?
Didn't need to.
Or who's running it there?
They are.
Locals.
Of course. Initially, I was a bit skeptical too. But then I realized they've got one of the highest university enrollment rates in the world. And almost everyone I meet speaks 3 languages: Latvian, Russian, and English. So, when I was hiring, I got heaps of applications, more than I could have asked for.
Heaps of applications don't mean they have any skills.
That may be true, but you certainly need to know a thing or two about skills if you're the largest pharmaceuticals manufacturer in the Baltics, or design systems for Kenwood, Panasonic, develop technologies for NASA, or make microphones for Lady Gaga.
Sounds good.
That sounds good. The corporate tax rate is 15%, one of the lowest in Europe, and it takes 1 day to launch a company.
Change. 1 day?
1 day? Right. But what's the catch? And don't tell me there isn't one.
Do you enjoy nature?
Sure, why not?
Then you'll have to deal with this. Take it in. Doesn't get fresher than that. After all, it's one of the greenest countries in the world. You enjoy music, by the way?
Yes, I do.
Then you've got to go to the opera house. It's phenomenal. And you're bound to bump into some of the top performers, like I did last week, as it happens. And restaurants, well, don't get me started. There's everything from local organic cuisine to my beloved English pub. And Riga, the capital city, just take a look around you. It's a work of art.
Hey, tell me again, when did you come here?
I tell you what, 3 years ago, and I have never looked back since.
So I want to thank our panel. I want to offer you all the opportunity to come and ask them questions at the reception and in the next couple of days in Riga. I apologize, we are out of time for questions. And I understand we are about to have the closing event. So thank you again for the wonderful panel, and welcome. Come back to Latvia soon.
Jums ir ļoti svarīgs notikums šodien šeit, bet arī mums visai Latvijai ļoti svarīgs notikums tie dziesmu svētki. Un burtiski dziesmu svētku starp laikā, starp mēģinājumiem un koncertiem pie jums ciemos ir Jāzep Medīņu mūzikas skolas zēnu kurs un sniegs nelielu svētku sveicienu.
Riga gimt, kas to Rīgu dimdināj, ai-ai-jā, tra-la-la, kas to Rīgu dimdināj. Ai-ai-jā, tra-la-la, kas to Rīgu dimdināj. Tai meitai puru kala, kam trejādi baleli. Ai-ai-jā, tra-la-la, kam trejādi baleli. Ai-ai-jā, tra-la-la, kam trejādi baleli. Tēva brālis puru kala, mātes brālis atslēdziņ. Ai-ai-jā, tra-la-la, mātes brālis atslēdziņ. Ai-ai-jā, tra-la-la, mātes brālis atslēdziņ. Viņas pašas īstais brālis zelta vākuli apdināj. Ai-ai-jā, tra-la-la, zelta vākuli apdināj. Ai-ai-jā, tra-la-la, zelta vākuli apdināj. Riga gimt, kas to Rīgu
paliek kāds 10 minūtes tālāk, tātad tūlīt būsim pabeiguši ar šīs dienas nodarbību. Es vispirms gribu pateikt, ka Pasaules Latviešu Ekonomikas un Inovācijas fóruma ietvaros norisinājies eseju konkurss, kurā jaunieši vecumā no 18 līdz 25 gadiem izteicās par to, kas viņus motivē un aptur uzsākt savu uzņēmēju darbību Latvijā un kā globālie latvieši var iesaistīties Latvijas tautsaimniecības veicināšanā. Vēlamies apsveikt pirmo 3 vietu ieguvējus. Tātad es aicināšu priekšā pirmās vietas ieguvēju Elīnu Miķelsoni. Un 3. vietas ieguvēju Mārtiņu Škutām. Un Jānis un Mārtiņš. Mārtiņš laikam nav. Tātad vēlreiz apsveiksim. Tagad nobeigam vārdi Jānim Kukaņam un Gundaram Straupam.
Man nav. Es nebiju paredzējis, ka man būs nobeigam vārdi. Pasniegsim godalgas, vai ne, pasaka paldies, tad pieņem ilgi kaut kādi praktiski vārdi, vai ne, kas būs kā rītdien, bet visu, ko es personīgi zinu, ja es esmu tāds mazāds apkārt satrauks, es tik zinu, ka man rīt no rīta 8 jābūt televīzijā, bet tā tam vienas ar Gundaru.
Es domāju, ka mēs visi druscītiņi esam noguruši un mums ir vajadzīga tāda pīpauz pirms 19, kur lielai daļai no mums ir jādodās uz pieņemšanu pie prezidenta. Bet tas, ko es gribēju pateikt, man liekas, līdzīgi kā vakardien, arī šodien mēs varam pateikt, ka pasākums ir neapšaubām izdevies. Un man negribētos šodien uz sitienu izdarīt kaut kādu kopsavilkumu, tas varbūt nebūtu taisnīgi un precīzi, bet to mēs noteikti izdarīsim laika gaitā. Un varbūt rītdienas preses konferencē mēs par kopsavilkumu varēsim pateikt kaut ko daudz vairāk. Vēlreiz paldies par līdzdalību, par aktivitāti un lai jums visiem šodien jauks vakars. Paldies!
Tā dāma, kas visu šo rīkojumu, to nepārtraukt, es gribu viņai dot atzinību, pasaka mums kaut ko, kas mums jādara.
Es pirms pateikšu, kas ir tieši jādara, gribēju uzsvērt, ka šis ir pasākums, kas ir tapis tiešām sanākot daudziem kopā. Mēs katrs esam likuši savu artavu, un mums ir arī šodien labvēļi iedavuši dažādas dāvanas, ko mēs vēlētos arī pavisam ātri izlozēt, izvalkot vizītkartes, kas bija samestas lielajā polē. Un tad varētu Kukaņa kungu aicināt izvilkt vienu, un tad nākamo vilkt Strautmaņa kungs. Un pirmo tad mēs izlozēsim Aktirances kosmētikas tādu dāvanu, un tas ieguvējs būtu
Kristaps Prietieks.
Tad Kristapam Prietiekam kosmētikas komplektā. Mums ir dāvana no Diatom Art, un tās ieguvējs
ir mūsu mīļais Jēkabs Krieviņš.
Jēkabs Krieviņš. Vai viņš ir mums mīļais? Ja nav, mēs vēlam nākamo, varbūt, ka...
Pats vairāk. Brigita Valija Parī.
Brigita Parī. Tad mums ir vēl dāvana, ko sagādājas Stenders, un to iegūst.
Ir Zaļbēks.
shirt, un to iegūst. I'm shirt ir tādi individualizēti izveidoti krekli. No laimē?
Jā, es varu būt neprecīzs ar uzvariem.
Taira Zoldnere no ASV. Vai Taira ir šeit? Ja nav, velkam nākamo un gatavojamies arī nākamai dāvanai.
Redz, kā tiem dāvām veicās Aija Sirmā.
Aija Sirmā. Mums ir noslēdzošā dāvana ir glezna, un cik es saprotu, tā arī ir no Diatoma Art, un to iegūst Francis Dižgalvas. Izmantojot šo iespēju, tiešām gribētu pateikt visiem šī projekta sadarbības partneriem, un tie ir norādīti pavisam klusi šeit bijuši redzami uz baneriem. Tātad rīkotāji pasakās Kultūras ministrijai, Latvijas Investīciju un attīstības aģentūrai, Amerikas Tirsniecības palātai Latvijā, Rīgas Tehniskajai universitātei, fondam Laimas zeme un daudziem citiem partneriem. Mūsu informatīvi ir atbalstījuši Dienas biznesa, Sestdiena, Delfi, Brīvā Latvija, Laiks, un tāpatās mēs esam ļoti pateicīgi mūsu sponsoriem, Amerikas Latviešu apvienībai, Baltijas tehnoloģiju grupai, kā arī tulkošanas birojam Lineāris. Un arī gribam apsveikt tulkus, kas visu šīs dienas garumā ir šo mūsu to komunikāciju veicinājuši, tā ka būs sveiciens arī tulcēm, kas tagad sēž aiz stikla sienas. Praktiski vēlamies arī precizēt, ejot laukā, apskatieties lūdzu par 4. jūlija, tas ir rītdienas pasākumiem, jūs esat laipni aicināti tos apmeklēt. Mums bija neliela pirmsreģistrācija, būs pie informācijas galda norādīti tie vārdi, kas jau bija pieteikušies. Ja jums interesē kāds no 6 piedāvātajiem pasākumiem, esat laipni apmeklēt, un par to var pieteikties pie šī informācijas galda. Vēlamies arī pateikt paldies šīs dienas vadītājiem Matīsam. Tas arī ir mūsu draudzīgs sveiciens no fóruma atbalstītāja Valmiem Mūžas. Ja par 4. jūliju viss skaidrs, tad par šodienu, ja kādam no jums, kas plāno doties uz prezidenta pieņemšanu, ir nepieciešams transports, kas būs, jūs varat izmantot mūsu sadarbības partneru taksometru pakalpojumus un lūdzams pie reģistrācijas, tad piesakieties, ja jūs vēlaties doties ar taksometru. Citādi tad jauka pastaiga ir otra alternatīva. Liels paldies visiem, ka bijāt klāt. Un jā, mums ir šis pasākums nekādā veidā nebūtu noticis, ne tikai bez sadarbības partneriem, sponsoriem un informatīviem atbalstītājiem, bet arī bez visiem praktiskā darba darītājiem. Un gribētu tiešām saaicināt visus mūsu brīvprātīgos palīgus, darba ruķus, kas vēl vakar 3 naktī birojā palīdzēja veikt pēdējos sagatavošanās darbus, un varbūt visi kopīgi tad ar aplausiem viņus arī apsveic. Oficiālo daļu šobrīd tad šeit beidzam. 7. Melngalnamā ir pieņemšana. Tas precizējumi.
rītdien viņi ir